John Boehner said of his tenure, "I came here to fight for a smaller, less costly, and more accountable government. But I began to realize over the years there was no winning this fight."
I don't believe that. I think you can win this fight. I think if you offer the people of this nation who believe that the country is on the wrong track, because it is, if you offer them a bold alternative vision for how to get this country back on the right track, how to fix our problems, how to reapply our founding principles, yes, I believe we can relimit this federal government and give people the kind of freedom and opportunity for all that they deserve.
You said that you want to tackle issues head on, even the tough ones. So first order of business, immigration reform, going to tackle that head on?
It's nice. Look, I think it would be a ridiculous notion to try and work on an issue like this with a president we simply cannot trust on this issue. He tried to go it alone, circumventing the legislative process with his executive orders. So that is not in the cards. I think if we reach consensus on how best to achieve border and interior enforcement security, I think that's fine. But look, we've taken plenty of tactical risks here in Congress. I think it's time we take some policy risks by showing the people what we really believe, who we are, and how we can fix this country's great problems. So we've been timid around here for too long, in my judgment, and I think we have to offer people a bold agenda.
Give me a policy risk.
Well, I think we should say what the new tax code looks like. I think we should say what Obamacare replacement looks like. People don't like Obamacare. Members of Congress don't like Obamacare. Most of us in the majority, we all voted against this. But I think if you take a look at the premiums, if you take a look at the fact that decisions are being taken away from patients and their doctors, people are starving for an alternative to this vision.
Was there a cost to what the House has just gone through on the Republican side?
I don't think there was a cost as much as it was growing pains. I think what we just experienced in the last couple of weeks was what was necessary to unify our conference, to unify our party. There are basically four things I think we need to do. Number one, get the House working like it was intended to work by the founders. Number two, we need to seek common ground. We need to find common ground where we can find it to advance the nation's interests, and we can do so without compromising our principles. Number three, I think it's incredibly important that we serve as an effective opposition party, a check on the administration's power. But that leads me to the most important point, number four. We've got to be a bold alternative party, a proposition party. We don't like the direction the country is headed, so we owe it to the people of this nation how we would do things differently, and that's what we have to do in 2016.
The 40 or so group of conservatives who fought against John Boehner, a lot of people said these tactics you're using, they're going to hurt the party, they're too extreme. But in the end, Republicans have now voted for a speaker they really like, you. So isn't that a validation of the tactics of the Freedom
Well, look,
Caucus?
these guys are good friends of mine. I am a movement conservative, and people know that. I think it's important. I think what we haven't done is offer a vision. We have not shown, not only ourselves, but the nation, what is the horizon we're shooting for? What are the big ideas that we're going to champion? That's unifying. That's what we should rally around. So that, to me, means we should put aside the timid nature of not taking risks on policy and show people why we should be trusted to lead in this nation to get us to a better day.
Do you see this job as a leader where you say, here's where we're going and everybody follows you, or are you more of a facilitator? John Boehner used to talk about working the will of the House.
I think that's right. So I was not elected dictator of the House. I was elected Speaker of the House. And that means we do it in a bottom-up approach. We reach consensus. As Republicans, we have common principles. We need to take those common principles and apply them to the problems of the day through consensus to show the country a better way forward. And it's my job to lead to that consensus, but not to dictate that consensus.
One of the things you used to write about in your budgets when you were budget chairman, it seems an age ago, you talked about how bigger government was possibly smashing community in America. Yeah. That's a bigger philosophical vision. Do you see your job as Speaker to make that case?
I do see my job as Speaker and I'm redesigning this job. I don't think it can work going forward like it's worked in the past. I can't pick up where John left off. It has to be done differently. And my colleagues agree with that. I think that's one of the reasons why I was elected Speaker. And so I do believe that means we have to be bold. We have to show who we are, what we believe. And when you're asking me about communities, I spent a great deal of time and thought about this. I think big government displaces what we call civil society. Big government makes it harder for communities to come together and heal problems. And so that, to me, is an incredibly important dialogue we're going to have in this country, which is how do we attack the root causes of poverty? How do we deal with reintegrating displaced communities so that people can build better lives for themselves?
You went out somewhat anonymously into the, well, totally anonymously into the country, went into
Right.
these communities, talked to addicts, talked to people down on their luck. You won't be able to do that anymore.
Oh, I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah, it may not be as anonymous as before. I'm going to keep doing that because I think we need to go out in our communities and learn. Learn from people who are successful at actually fighting poverty, at getting people back on their feet. I think we need another round of welfare reform to move people from welfare to work so that people can make the most of their lives. And so I'm going to keep doing that.
Some things you may have to do differently. You still going to sleep in your office?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, look, I just work here. I live in Janesville, Wisconsin. I'm not changing that. I work here from dawn till about midnight, and I'm just going to sleep in my office because it's very convenient for me.
May have to get the cigarette smoke out, maybe.
Well, my office, I'm going to sleep in my regular office over in the Longworth building.
You have young children. What did you tell them?
You know, we had a lot of talks about this in the week building up to this. And I told them that I'm still going to be home on Saturdays and Sundays like I always have been. What we do on Saturdays is I usually do my kids' sporting events and some constituent events, and Sundays are family days. That's not going to change. I'm going to commute back and forth to Wisconsin every week. Look, the way I look at this is, don't you think that people in this country want citizen legislators? Don't you think people in this country want their representative in Congress living among them, understanding them, going through the same kinds of trials and tribulations, raising families that they do? That, to me, is what a citizen legislature should be like, so I don't see myself changing in that respect at all.
Do you think that'll change the way the House works? I mean, you're the first speaker since James G. Blaine to have little kids. They didn't even have electricity then. So what's it going to do to change the House? The fact that you have young kids and have
Electricity will make it much more efficient, I think.
Yes.
You know, it's a younger breed here in the House. When I came to Congress, I was the youngest person. I think Harold Ford and I were the youngest people here. We were 28 years old. But there's a newer, younger breed of members from both sides of the aisle who have families. And so I think that that's a good thing. I think having new blood, young people here offering fresh ideas is a good thing, and I want to continue that kind of process.
Anything else you've carved out that you say, I don't care what being speaker does, I'm going to keep doing this, camping, for example?
Yeah, of course I'm going to keep camping. I'm going to keep mountain climbing, I'm going to keep camping, I'm going to keep hunting. I told the security detail that human scent is not good for bow hunting. So I won't go into the details, but I have to keep life normal. I have to keep life real, and I think they understand that.
Have you gotten to the point yet where you've said, hey, this job that I maybe didn't want, it's going to be fun?
Yeah, I am. I think I crossed over to that. Crossed over to no, to reluctant, to if I have to actually I think this could be very exciting. The reason why I'm excited about this job is because I really believe we have an incredible opportunity to offer the people of this nation a better way forward, a very bold agenda. And this is what people deserve. I mean, most people in this country don't think we're heading in the right direction. I certainly believe that. So we ought to show people how we would do things differently, and I think that's really exciting.
Tell me about the crossover moment.
I don't know if it was an actual moment, but just a metamorphosis over a few weeks. And it was basically talking with my colleagues, listening to my fellow Republicans in Congress about their concerns and their frustrations with the way things have been done in the past. And what I realized is it reflected my own thinking. It reflected my own frustrations with the way business has been done in Congress. So this is a new day, and we are wiping the slate clean, and we're going to do things differently.
All right. Speaker Ryan, thanks very much.
Thanks, John.